don't invest too much into your emotion, and obviously also don't invest too much into the mind. See, in life, both of these are needed, at least a bit, because one needs to have a certain level of identity with the world. One needs a certain level of identity, because this way one can create a certain, let's say, boundary with the physical world and a certain sense of belonging to this world. Because without any of those, you're nothing else but a fully unconscious being. Whatever happens, you simply will go with the flow. That's the same thing that happens with ghosts and discarnate beings and all sorts of entities that don't have a physical, well, a physical body with an awareness, right? Because, well, ghosts and such are also physical entities. They're much less perceptible, but they're still physical entities. Now, when it comes to emotion and the minds, right? Say, for example, tiredness. A lot of people nowadays are feeling tired, and well, tiredness is something that kind of is characteristic of this world. The air is somewhat polluted and constantly bombarded with all sorts of chemicals. The food that we eat isn't the most natural, and a lot of, you know, chemicals are within it as well. The water is not the best quality that you may find anywhere, and ultimately, this is not good because, well, you can't have a Ferrari and feed it any kind of petrol, right? Any kind of gas. And when it comes to your own body, you can't eat all the shitty food and expect to have the capacity to do anything that you want. As I've been saying, and other voices also have been saying, the more one does something, the better they kind of become at it. So, for example, and I'm gonna say this once again, the mind will lead you as much as it can, and emotions in life, if you wish to be emotionally driven, well, emotions will only lead you so far, and that so far means nothing else but good or bad. And the mind can only lead you to confusion, because that is the uppermost limit. With emotions, you can either like something or dislike something, and with the minds, you can transcend emotion and be like, um, well, you can have a neutral stance, more or less. You can discern things, but you need awareness for that. If you don't, or even if you have discernment, the mind will only lead you to confusion. Because you will believe certain things, those things will serve you more or less. Certain levels further in life, you will see that they'll serve you better or probably worse. And, well, confusion ultimately is unavoidable. For example, let's take tiredness. So many people feel tired nowadays, and it's kind of obvious. Many people are working their asses for, just the basic existence. And then when they come back home, they don't have any energy left for their own life. Then you have another great question. Most of the work in this society is very simple. You work during the day and you come back at home. So you work during the day, which is the most nourishing part of the day, right? When the sun is up and when you should be walking outside and sunbathing and allowing the sun to simply allow the sun to simply bathe your body and such, and have a relaxing stroll there, uh, on the street, in a park, and probably even connect with nature. And then comes the night. You usually leave work towards the evening when the sun isn't that much in its prime regarding the day. So when the night comes, it's, well, very simple. You don't have too much sun left, and it's already the time when you should be uh, eating supper and more or less preparing for bed because, well, the next day will probably be the same. So when people are tired, well, there comes the question. Mentally speaking, you're always confused because the mind is always confused. Because confusion means something has died, it's no longer serving you, and without that pillar, the mind is no longer feeling structured enough. And at the same time, confused means that you're still seeking an answer, right? And emotionally, well, when you're tired, you're not feeling good. these patterns of life are easily observable. There is technically nothing else out there. It's basically A or B, more or less. There may be some minor variables, but those aren't too important. So when it comes to feeling tired, well, it kind of sucks, isn't it? When you're feeling tired, you don't like doing things anymore. You're feeling down. Well, one of the purposes of a sick society is to make sure that you're feeling down, because when you're feeling down, you don't want to do anything for you. You're gonna unconsciously attend the things that you have to do, and as this society goes, you're gonna have little time left for yourself. Then you marry, you have children, and well, all your spare time kind of goes to the drain because more or less you're gonna build up all those frustrations that you have to focus on so many other people, and well, you're not gonna have time for yourself. This is the explanation why so many people are frustrated in life, is because they have been born by this same type of people, right? This same type of parents who haven't been matured enough in life. They had children because their parents told them, because their wounded neighbors and the such pressured them to. Because when people suffer, they also want you to suffer. They're also inviting you in their suffering and asking you to do the same things. Because when people are, well, nothing else but ruins or wrecks, whatever you want to call them, they want to see the same in you. So if someone is a wreck, if someone is a ruin in life, but they're giving you free life advice, why would you take it? Because if they are nothing else but a ruin, well, would you seek to become one as well? So when you are tired, the point is very simple. Is it that you are actually physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired? Or, well, in life you've gotten most likely used to the fact that when you don't want to do something, you are inventing slowly and surely the excuse that you are simply tired. And well, the more you practice something, the better you become at it. And sooner or later, let's say, your discernment will take it as a natural point, so it won't pinpoint it as something unreal when you're faking it so that you don't do things, right? It's gonna simply take it as is, and well, you're gonna still, let's say, pay some consequences. Because when you're feeling tired, you don't want to do things. When you're inventing that you're feeling tired, again, you're not doing things. So, well, in the end, there is a simple question: where is the guidance? Because even if you are truly tired or you're faking it, the point is you still don't have any guidance. And you see, a concept which I can't ever believe in, which is motivation. See, people say your feeling of motivation is proportional to your own sense of doing. So if you're procrastinating and you're not doing things, right, you're having a feeling of no accomplishment done today, and you're gonna feel bad about it. But the sick society comes in and says, why not binge watch some of your so-called favorite shows? Well, at the end of the day, you've watched some of those and they, well, were very interesting because, well, all this society does is to drain you of your energy by stealing your attention. But ultimately, you've watched some of those and you haven't done anything for yourself. And at the end, you might find yourself frustrated that, well, you haven't achieved anything, because not having done anything productive that you wish you would have done will make you feel that you haven't achieved anything. Most likely people are very aware of this situation, but they're kind of shrugging it under the rug, feeling that, well, if they're hiding it, nothing happens. Well, your consciousness kind of never forgets it. Now the very simple question comes in and says, am I doing the right things in life? And this question is one of the most hideous questions because it's also one of the most insidious ones. And, well, again, to people who have no, let's say, substance, right? Underlying substance, the only thing that they can do in life is use their mind or use their emotion. There is rarely anything such as intuition, because intuition means bypassing the mind, and you bypass the logic, because logic equals mind, mind equals structure. You need to create steps which are palpable so that you reach a certain result. That's how the mind works. Based on those results, you may more or less emotionally invest into the results. So if you draw out the mind, more or less you draw out the emotion. And to people who are slaves of their own mind, that is basically like, uh, lobotomy, because suddenly there's nothing for them to do, right? A lot of people don't have patience. That's what this sick society wants you, because when you don't have patience, you live by impulses. So where is the guidance? Because your mind says, well, I'm tired, I'm not going to do anything, and your emotion will say, well, um, I'm not good enough, or I'm not feeling good enough, and I'm not feeling like doing it. Mind and emotion are not that different when it comes to the function, but the simple point is, if one becomes introspective, they will realize that bypassing this question, whether you're doing the right thing or not, is very easy. If one becomes introspective, they will see that in their life there are moments of high and low. See, I will never believe that there is something called motivation. See, in your life, I said, your sense of worthiness is more or less bound to this idea of how much you have done. If you have unrealistic expectations of life, which means more or less that you're unconsciously functioning and you don't have too much of a foundation, if you have these unrealistic expectations of life, everything that you do is never gonna be enough. So you're always gonna feel down. And, well, this will cause pain, which will imply that you distract yourself from time to time. Distracting yourself from time to time means that you'll procrastinate, and so on and so forth. This question will simply stomp you again and again, and probably you're going to end up at the psychiatry ward or at a psychologist. But, these two won't necessarily know how to address your problem, because I doubt any of those will be making use of introspection. They'll just make use of some logics and some emotions to try to figure out some problems, but many of those people I kind of see as blind when it comes to perceiving deeper aspects of one's being. So, when one becomes introspective, they will realize that life is basically functioning based on your own karmic substance. Your karmic substance will always try to pull you back into the idea of the so called natural functionality. When you want to start spirituality, when you want to dive in something which is beyond you, you will see that it's like thousands of forces within you will suddenly coerce into a greater force, right? One single force which will try its best to simply pull you down. It's not that the whole universe suddenly turns against you. It's just that nature has given you birth, has given you this unconsciousness, has given you this certain level of awareness, but it's simply not going to let you, transcend this level of your own existence that easily. It won't allow you to transcend your own, let's say, inner nature that easily. This is what this society also wants you, right? Focus always on your survival, always on your sexuality, and only at these three lower levels of, sexuality, more or less exploitation of other people, because that's the most socializing that sick people know how to do, and, well, obviously exploitation of the self. So this sick question is easy to transcend once you realize that life simply functions on cycles. There will be cycles of life when you will simply be, well, part of the cycle of life, when you will be simply riding your own karma. Basically, you will be able to simply transcend those lower vibes, those aspects, because there will be moments when they will simply pop up. When they pop up, they might simply overwhelm you, so it is wiser to simply take things slow instead of pushing forward. See, this sick society doesn't know anything than to teach you everything you need to do, anything you need to achieve, you need to work your ass hard. Because when you work hard, you no longer have time for yourself. And also, you're destroying your health, you're destroying your inner well being, you're destroying your balance, and obviously, the greatest trap of this sick society and its superpower, you're becoming a slave of your emotion and obviously your mind. When you're a slave of the such, well, when you're a slave of the emotion, you'll be easy prey to all those ads, for example, that say or make it appear as if something in this world or someone in this world or a group of people in this world are mistreated, and you're gonna react emotionally and you're gonna invest into that and you're gonna create even more misery. And when you're a slave of your own mind, well, it's kind of gonna be the same thing, except that instead of using more emotion, you'll simply start using all sorts of judgments to create all sorts of ideas. The same thing is with tiredness. When you don't want to do something, you're going to invent that you're tired, right? And, well, sooner or later in life, you're going to come to the question, is it you that you're truly tired? Are you inventing tiredness again? And obviously, this sick question will pop up again. Are you doing the right thing in life or not? When you are introspective and you realize that there are cycles of life and you start getting a certain mastery of your own body, a certain understanding of how its energies function and how you specifically function, how the circadian rhythms function, aka your sleep patterns, how they need to be instead of how society wants them to be, well, these things will take a long time, but they will help transcend such problems, because sooner or later you'll realize that you'll have times in which karma simply doesn't affect you much, but all the action that you take will have obviously their own karma, because action, well, karma means action. Everything that you do leaves some kind of, let's say, temporal imprint, and sooner or later that will come around and bite you in the ass, because karma also means wheel, right? The wheels keep turning. So it is always better that you act consciously. Even when you act unconsciously, transcending karma in a way is easy, because whatever comes, you simply embrace it with open arms, because in the end, you simply cannot outrun fate. A lot of people will tell you this or that. Yes, you can do anything that you want in life. You have full freedom to do that. But the events of this universe, everything that happens on this planet with everyone else's decisions, things will happen in your life sooner or later. So it's like simply riding the wave. When you're a surfer, you're gonna ride waves. Well, sooner or later, some bigger waves come, so it's up to you to simply handle those, right? So simply riding those waves and living life in a very more simplistic way, without giving too much attention to the mind, too much attention to the emotion. It's like when challenges come, don't take your mind into account, because your mind is always vibrant, it's always variable. It might think of this now, but in the next second you might have other thought. In another second later you might have another thought, and so on and so forth. When it comes to your emotion, again, it will either make you feel bad or it will either make you feel good. When you're overrun by your mind or by your emotion, you're not capable of discerning, right? Because in order to be discerning, you need time. But the sick society and sick people in general don't want you to have that time, because they don't have any patience. And also they don't want you either to have patience. So hopefully this video was somewhat introspective. It felt a bit quirky, but many of the videos that I make are typically, intuition based. And I only take a different direction when I feel that I need to add some extra details, or I need to create a foundation for a new idea to come. So don't worry if my videos feel somewhat quirky, because I never spend any time thinking On certain things, I just get a certain set of ideas. I know a certain skeleton of the ideas that I need to present. Some of them I even forget by the time I start recording them. So, well, all this being said, wishing you an awesome day, take care, and well, feel free to also like, subscribe, share this video to others. Maybe someone wouldn't mind getting to know things, and well, they wouldn't mind the, sharing of a bit of wisdom. And feel free to also watch any other content on this channel. Take care, enjoy life. Thank you for watching till the end. Very Board signing out.